A typical ancient Greek house was where the man of the family was proud to live. In his house, no one could disrespect him at any time, and he had all of the power. The home was in the heart of the man, so he would have no choice but to protect both its non-living and living contents.
Houses in ancient Greece came in two forms, the southern and northern style. The two types varied by material, structure, location, and culture.
There weren't a lot of differences between poor and wealthy homes. All Greek homes were simple and plain. The materials used were mud bricks, wood, and stone. They had windows which were high set and small. The homes would be whitewashed to a bright white color because the whitewash reflects sunlight and would keep the inside of the houses cool during the summer. It also would keep the heat inside in the winter. The roof would be made out of clay tiles. Not a lot of homes had chimneys. They mostly had small vents in the ceiling that would allow smoke to go out. Expensive homes would have walls that were 1 foot thick. This would keep thieves from stealing things from them. The upper part of the wall was brick, and the lower part was stone. Poor homes were made of just mud bricks, which would crumble easily, so thieves were able to steal things from them.
Wealthy homes consisted of a bathroom, bedrooms, gynekon, andron, kitchen, storeroom, and a courtyard. Each room had little furniture because they were made of wood, and wood was a material that was usually scarce in Greece.
At the entrance there would be a column-like statue called a herm, which was the messenger of the gods Hermes. Greek homes usually only had one entrance that led to the courtyard. The front door was made of wood and would be very simple. Each bedroom had a bed that was similar to the couches used in the men's entertaining room. Greece beds were usually simple, but the bedsteads were sometimes ornamented. Mattresses were a sack filled with leaves, which was surprisingly comfortable. For bedding, they used a wool or linen cloth that would. There was also a wooden chest that would hold a person's clothes and other items that would be important to them. For wall decorations, they had paintings that would be colorful and depict images of gods and goddesses.
The gynekon was a special room where women could work on their weaving and spinning. They would also entertain friends and female relatives in this room. A visiting male would not be allowed in this part of the house. It would be a very bad insult and would face a stern punishment. In the gynekon, they would have a weaving machine where they could make clothes, blankets, and other things for their family. There would also be wooden chests that would hold their materials. Other furniture in this room were wooden stools and benches that had cloth on them so they were comfortable to sit on.
Andron rooms were for the male family members. In this room, the head male family member would entertain male friends and relatives that came to visit. Symposia would be held here, which were drinking parties. Women would not enter this room unless they were hired as entertainment or a slave serving food and drinks to the company. In the andron, there were a lot of benches where the men would sit and enjoy spending time together. They would also have rugs covering the floor and painting covering the walls. Ancient Greek rugs were made of wool and would be hand woven by the woman. The kitchen was where women would do the cooking for the family. They had a stone fireplace that would serve as an oven. On shelves, they would have amphorae and pithoi, which held olive oil and grain. All the cooking was done using coarse, plain pots. They saved the best dishes and pots for entertaining and special occasions. To eat, they would use utensils made out of wood and sometimes stone. Most men in the family didn't come in this room, since it was the woman's job to do all the cooking.
The size of the storeroom would depend on how much and how big the materials being stored there are. There were large pots called amphorae and pithoi, which would hold basic foodstuffs, such as olive oil, wine, grain, berries, and any other thing that could be stored for a long time. In this room, there would also be logs of wood, which they would use to heat the oven for cooking and for warmness. This room was mostly dark and musty, with mud floors. Anyone was allowed to enter this room as long as they were getting supplies that they were going to use.
In the bathroom, there would be a bathtub made of stone in either a toilet or hole in the ground. They would get the water for bathing from the well and would heat it up. Ancient Greek families only took a bath every once in a while, since it was a tedious. Almost all Greek homes were built around a courtyard. Floors in courtyards were often tiled, but were sometimes mud and had mosaics. Greeks would go to the seashore and find seashells or rocks of similar sizes but different colors. When they brought them home, they would arrange them on the mud or on the tiles so they would show a picture. The picture would tell a story, usually of the gods or the family. The courtyard would often contain an altar to Hestia, who was the goddess of hearth and home. There would also usually be a well that would be used for collecting water so they could cook, drink, and bathe. Most of the time, there were a lot of plants and flowers growing in the courtyard. This would make them prettier and more appealing. Women would sometimes do their spinning or weaving here, but only if there were.
The neighborhoods in ancient Greece were very enclosed. There were rows of 5 houses lining a street. Each house was built on a rectangular land plot and sometimes would be so close together that they were against each other. That would mean when building a neighborhood like that would be shorter and more efficient, since they would be sharing materials instead of just building a freestanding structure.
Greek-style homes have branded landscapes and cities with its ways. The Greek influence of building houses overcame Italian sites like Sicily since the Greeks used to occupy that area. Romans might have been inspired by the Greeks since some of their homes' innovations are similar to the homes that were in Greece. For example, ancient Roman homes were built around a courtyard just like the Greek homes in this time were. So, it could be possible that they stole this idea.